Guys, here we go. Oh my God. I'm the one that picked this one out, but we'll talk about it in a minute as Ginger puts her makeup on. Here we go. Yeah.
Is it just me? Or is it getting crazier out there?
Oh, it's crazy out there. Anyways, 12 viewers. Let's hope that people start coming in here. What the heck? Where is everybody? Welcome to Late Late Horror Show. I am Dino, and that is Ginger.
Hi.
Yeah, and I think her internet's better. Yeah. What was that blurriness going on there? But
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Hey, it's Dave Plouffe. Tracy, what's going on? RTN, Denny, how you doing? Hi, Boy Donuts. Connie Clary, Stair Pike, Rich Cat Ranch is here. Black Roses, what's going on? Harry Scott is here.
Hi, Harry.
Hopefully everybody else starts coming on in.
Hi, Chris W. Mwah. How you doing, babe?
Chris W here too.
Hi, Cat. Hi, Cat.
Hey, Vincent White, what's going on? Good to see you, Vincent White. Okay, Danny in Asheville.
Connie.
Hello, Dino.
Mwah.
I am here. Yes. Peter, Trogdor. Okay, everybody's coming in here now. Good to see each and every one of you. This movie, Ginger, I am going to...
Tread lightly. Tread lightly.
Oh, I'm definitely going to tread lightly after last week's episode. Show, whatever you want to call it. Giallo films, these early Italian horror films can get quite disturbing, gross at sometimes.
Not very friendly toward women.
No, not at all. And hey, M, hello, WWM. But yeah, it's just a different. It's just a different era, a different time, and Italian horror at that time, like you said, Ginger, was just very chauvinistic and very just gory and not at all what I expected.
But you told me that this is not necessarily representative of the Giallo genre, that's just these guys' thing, that doesn't necessarily mean all Giallos are like that. That's what you said.
No, yeah. I think me and you just happened to hit last week and this week on a couple of really gory, hard-hitting, almost sexual type films, which I'm not going to.
Now, I think Torso was on me. Torso was my idea, yeah?
Yeah, that's yes.
This one was on you, so we're even now.
Yes. This is and you know what? To tell you the truth, this is my first Lucio Fulci film, and I was a bit disappointed. And a lot of Giallo fans are going to go, "What?" A lot of horror fans are going to go, "What?" Not that I hated it. I did not dislike watching it. It was a pretty good movie, but I was disappointed.
And see, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the heck out of it. I'm surprised. I really liked this one, although it was very, very graphic. I mean,
it was.
Scenes, the sexual content, very, very graphic, definitely. But I liked it. This is one that I would actually watch again, I think, because the period, the atmosphere, you know how you and I always talk about how we like the gritty New York late 70s.
Yeah.
This movie is not pretty. There's nothing beautiful.
Well, it's funny you say that too. And hello, Cody Ray and Seth the Welsh and Matt Maddox. I met the original Michael Myers. Congratulations, I guess.
Hi, everybody. I know I've been running my mouth. I haven't said hi to everybody, but I see you saying hi. Hi.
Yes. Let's get the real quick things out of the way. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe if you're here for the first time, and all that good stuff. All the descriptions are down in the box. Links are above the chat too. You could join the channel. You can join Patreon for movie nights every week. Lots of fun stuff. Overnight radio shows tonight. We got a spooky, dark, haunting kind of stream going on tonight, and a new background, new scary room. Or
I am never going to give my approval of this room unless that Beetlejuice sign is on. If the Beetlejuice sign isn't on, I got nothing for you.
Okay,
nothing.
That's fine. That's fine. So the stream overnight tonight will be a dungeon.
He said that's fine. He's not going to turn it on.
That's all right. Silver Bullet. I know. Here, let me put Silver Bullet up for RTN there.
You RTN. RTN remembers. He remembers.
So let's see. A Shadow from the Tomb. What's going on? I do like Giallo films, but I haven't seen this one. Big fan of Argento stuff. Well, see, that's the point. That's the point I'm trying to make here.
Turn on the sign. Turn on the sign.
When I was telling Ginger, hold on. When I was telling Ginger that this kind of isn't representative for what I really love about the Giallo.
Which he says every Giallo movie that I've seen. He says that every time. Then tell me what is representative then.
Well, no, I'll tell you what. Torso I really love. This one is a bit different, and we'll get into talking about this film here in a second. But what I love about the Giallo films is Dario Argento. I love the way he made Suspiria, Deep Red, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, Tenebrow. All of these movies were done with suspense and story and intrigue and all the great stuff, and that Giallo has. That and we'll talk about it in this movie because they had it.
Sign. Connie said sign.
Oh, geez. Here we go. Let me turn on the sign. Right. Where's it at?
Pressure.
Where's the button?
Peer pressure.
Okay, there we go. As long as it don't get annoying for some people. Okay, there we go.
It's not gonna get annoying.
Dave Blueface has agreed, Ginger. There are only 2 movies for Dino, Deep Red and Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Oh, and Suspiria. Yeah. No, you know what? It's because of all the reasons I just said. Am I wrong, Ginger? When we get to starting to talk about this film, it's just borderline gore, and raunch. Am I wrong? And there's nothing wrong with that.
It's very graphic. It is gratuitous.
Yes.
Gore and sexual content. It is very graphic. I learned a couple things watching this movie.
Oh, geez. Yeah. No.
I was like, really? They do that?
Oh, my gosh. No. Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. Hey, Grant, what's going on? And Ian Sharp, good to see you. Matt Maddox says Ohio here. Ohio here too, Matt. Good to see you. Good to know you. Michael Tompkins, what's going on? This again, Dario Argento, it was just a whole different kind, and we were starting to get into mid 80s where a lot of the gratuity and all of that stuff was kind of taking a back seat to making
a backstory, a plot.
Yes, and
So let's get started. Come on, let's get started.
Yes, and I don't think anybody. We've got an hour and a half.
I know, but there's a lot. Look at my notes. I have notes.
Okay, yeah, 5 minutes and we're done with your notes. Yeah, it looks like a lot, but I'll go Ginger. What? And then we'll get love me some late horror. Thank you, Matt Maddox. Anyways, listen. Oh, and super chats. Anybody who gives me a super chat tonight, I guess I'll just thank you. Anyways, I don't know why I said that. Koskinsky movies are often crazy. Yes. Justin Cordero, how is everyone tonight? Good
Hi,
to see
Justin.
You. Different names here. Okay, so The New York Ripper, 1982. Why do I get messed up? I keep saying his name. Lucio Fulci, who makes an appearance in this film as the chief of police.
Yes, he does. He's the police commissioner or superintendent or whatever.
Yeah, but like Ginger said, right? This kind of takes place gritty early 80s or
the opening 70s. Scene, the opening shot where it pans out over the New York harbor and the twin Still Too Soon towers. Yeah. It gives me chills still to this day when I see anything that still has the twin towers. It's like, you still feel it.
Oh, it does. Yeah, definitely. And there you go, Seth the Welsh. Everybody, woo, hail
awesome,
Seth the Welsh. Hail Seth the Welsh. I love all
Seth,
those
I'm
Dario
1%
movies.
Welsh. According to Ancestry, I'm 1% Welsh.
Oh, jeez. Love all those Dario movies you mentioned. Fulci shot his movies as almost dreamlike. I can see that. Maybe. Hey, yo, Tomo, what's going on, my friend?
So, hey, Tomo. So, the opening scene, they pan out over the New York Harbor, and you see the classic New York skyline, the way that we all remember it, with the World Trade Center tower still there. And this old man is out there walking with his dog, and he throws a stick. And of course, you know what's going to happen. The dog comes back, and the dog has in his mouth, instead of a stick,
a hand.
A hand. And the hand makes you think of Jaws. Doesn't it make you think of Jaws?
A little bit. But it's
and the
kind
scene
of
with the coroner, Jaws.
It's kind of a Fulci thing. Those kind of scenes there where you get an appendage, a close-up shot of the eyes, and then a close-up shot of the appendage or something like that, whatever. Anonymous, what's going on? But yes, it's kind of a Fulci thing, and
so let's move on.
That. Yeah, but you know what? Again, Basket Case, if we were to mention, that's gritty early New York.
Yes.
Late 70s. Then it starts to, it's still gritty, like early 80s, mid 80s, it's still, but then they start cleaning it up a bit. But we still kind of get the old hell. In the 80s here, we had the same kind of red light districts, can we say?
That whole 42nd Street, was just filth on top of filth, debauchery, just twisted, sick. I mean, like, I was like, wow, and that was 1982, and they filmed that, just like with Torso, they filmed it in New York, but with Torso, there was this consideration about the gun that you're not supposed to fire a gun in the city, so they had to film that scene and move really fast. Well, with New York Ripper, it was they just wanted to avoid having to pay all the fees, because if you film, Fulci's daughter said this in the retrospective that I watched, if you filmed for 1 minute for a commercial film in New York, they expected you to put in a permit and you had to pay for it. So they would film in places outside of New York and film that shot really quick, like in 1 minute or 2 minutes, and then get out of there so that nobody would catch them, so they wouldn't have to keep paying all these fees. And that's why the scenes cut like the way they do, because they don't want to be in one place for too long.
And not just that, they came to New York specifically to film certain footage.
Just the outsides.
Everything you see pretty much indoors
was in Rome.
filmed in Italy. So that's why you get, you're like New York City, and then you see them in the house, and you see like a European phone, and all the decor that looks like you're in Europe, in Italy. So it's like, yes, that's exactly what you get. And Ian Sharp does say Argento liked eyeballs as well. Yes.
We find that out in this movie.
Yes, eyeballs is a thing in this movie. It is. Sounds pretty sweet is here. What's going on? Says I was also a fetus. Oh, well, we all were. Anyways, hi,
sounds pretty sweet. How's the baby? Excuse me, I'm sorry. I have to ask about the baby. Sounds pretty sweet. Sister had a baby.
Oh, Melanie, congratulations. Congratulations. Yes. So yes, this movie definitely, it starts out like that, and kind of sets the stage for there being this I guess this killer, although and the gore, I mean, not the gore, but the special effects, the makeup effects and stuff, even though good for back then, it doesn't age very well. The eye cut that he does in his movies,
very graphic. That was very disturbing to me.
Yes, definitely very good. But anyways, let's see.
Justin said a lot of movies that take place in Philadelphia are actually shot in Germany because their infrastructure is pretty similar. Yes, we have buildings here that were built in the late 1700s, early 1800s.
Yep, shot location. That's why a lot of movies are shot here in Cleveland too. We still got some pretty old buildings in certain parts of the city. So, but yes, continuing on. There's So the
opening of this movie, the impression that I got of this movie was almost like a one of those old cop shows, like
Yeah, no, like NYPD Blue or something like
or
that. It's
something like
kind of
one of
like
those old like Cagney and Lacey or something. The music,
yeah.
the way they film it, it just reminded me. It felt very cozy to me. That's why I like this movie. I like the atmosphere. I
Yeah.
really
Okay.
did.
Oh no. Well, yeah, I don't like that part of it. But hey, Shannon Burge, she says, "Hey everyone, Trogdor nephew had a baby. Very cool. So
Congratulations, Erica.
yeah. So listen,
So
we get. Oh,
this
go
is
ahead.
another thing that
Yeah.
I asked you, like when I was looking at other reviews of people who had watched this movie, and I said no one mentioned that this. To me, I assumed that it was based on the actual case of that New York Ripper that happened just a couple years before this came out.
Right.
When the
Right.
scene cuts to inside the police station,
Mm-hmm.
Fred Williams, the police lieutenant, he comes
Yes.
walking. Someone walks up to him and she has a photograph, a black and white photograph of a woman, and it's the woman whose hand they found in that opening sequence. She looks a lot like the first known victim of the actual New York Ripper. She had dark hair. She was pretty. He killed some really pretty women. He didn't pick just like the first prostitute he found. The real New
Yeah.
York Ripper picked like women that he was actually attracted to.
Well, isn't that the way it usually goes?
Well, I mean, but he was. I mean, yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah, but
Sometimes it's
that's
like, well,
exactly the
kill
way
any
it.
woman who's vulnerable. I don't know, but you're right. Every serial killer seems to have a type. You're right. You're
Oh
right.
yeah, no, it's scarred in their memory. So
Mhm.
that's why there's always a profile for each victim that these killers, serial killers, go after.
Yeah.
But yes, but nowhere in anything that I've researched or anything has it really been brought up or even said
I'm gonna have to
that
send you the one
this
that I saw
movie
that
was about the
Fulci's
real new.
daughter was in, because she didn't say it, but a guy in that same documentary said that was what they had in mind when they made this movie. It wasn't their original intention, but then that happened. They had
Yeah.
already decided on filming a movie in New York. But anyway, let's move on because there's a lot.
Well,
Let's
and
go to the
again,
ferry.
yeah, and again, Lucio Fulci was doing like kind of supernatural films before this, and this was his entry kind of into the Giallo genre.
Okay.
And again, there are elements in this movie that are Giallo. I mean, he even takes a couple scenes where it goes all red and then it goes all green. So colors are involved. There's the we must say at that beginning scene when that older lady brings in the picture of the woman that is the first victim,
Mhm.
she mentions that the Donald Duck voice
Yes.
to Lieutenant
And
Fred
everybody's like,
Williams.
what? Like a duck? What?
Yeah, like it talks like a duck, which is weird and throws a lot of people off. Like why? But it makes sense in the end.
Yes.
But it's funny that real soon after that scene, he's told about the Donald Duck voice. Hey, somebody called Lieutenant,
And he sounded
uh,
like a duck.
and he goes,
Where
"Real
have I
what?
heard that before?
What? Never heard that before," is what he
Yeah,
said.
it was
Uh,
5 minutes ago when that other lady told you the same thing.
yeah. It's like what? Okay, this is a great police officer. He's really remembering his facts. But anyways,
And the guy
um,
who played Fred Williams, am I wrong? I think the guy who played Fred Williams is actually English. He actually has a British accent in real life.
oh boy,
That's
I
what I
don't know.
thought. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Anyway,
could be. I don't know.
so
But
next
yeah,
we
no.
have the girl, and they go to the Staten Island ferry.
Oh yeah. Well, let's not skip over to one funny part of this. And thank you, Connie Clary. Hit that thumbs up bell and all that good stuff. Thank you guys very much. If I miss any comments, it's because we're deep into some thought here. Have you guys noticed echo there? Ginger's Philadelphia T-shirt there. She
EAGLES Eagles.
She just wants to show
Sorry.
off her football team. I don't know why, but anyways, just kidding. But yeah, the girl. Okay, we get this first victim. We're seeing the streets of New York. The cars coming. There's this female on a bicycle, and
she's
yeah.
pretty. Oh, she's pretty.
Oh, she's pretty, and she's standing up on
Her
the
name's
pedals.
Rosie.
Yes, her
Rosie.
name's Rosie, and Rosie, the quicker picker upper. Didn't she do Bounty? I think so. Oh, you're soaking in it. What?
No, that was palm olive. Okay.
Anyways,
so she
yeah.
bumps into
Oh,
this
yeah,
guy.
Ivory Liquid.
She accidentally, her bike scrapes up against this guy who's in a red Beetle.
Yes.
And he unleashes with a tirade of sexism and just hate towards women.
Oh, yeah. He was turning around going, and keep it cool, Ginger, keep it cool.
But
yeah,
she got the last word. She got the last word.
Yeah, he turns to her and, hello, Sandra, what's going on? Why did the girl invite a guy? Okay, you guys are telling jokes again. Okay, go go for it. Yeah, he looks at her because she scratched, she just plows right into his car. And he's like, you women,
you need to be home where women belong.
I think it was an Italian too. He's going, hey, what do you do? Get out of here! You drive like you're crazy.
He was not Italian. He was just an ass.
You drive like you're crazy, you know. Yeah, he was an ass.
So when they get to the ferry, she finds his car.
Madge was palm olive. Okay, anyways, yeah. So they all get on the ferry. So there you go.
And she finds his car. And when I first saw this scene, it was like a Mentos commercial. You know, the Mentos commercial when they pop a Mentos and they're like, yeah, I'm going to do that. She saw his car and she was like, yeah, I'm going to do this.
Hey, Fletch Keelman is here. Everybody welcome him. Fletch.
Hi,
good to
Fletch.
See you. Yeah, no. It's a very, well, just her on that bike made it seem like an 80s commercial, right? Just biking up the thing. You know, Mentos fresh and full of life. But yeah, she's on the ferry and she sees that car.
Mm-hmm. And there's no one in it. There's no one in any of the cars. I guess people they left their cars and went and stood on the deck, I guess. I don't know. I've never been on the Staten Island ferry.
Listen, during the scene, and this is why I was disappointed, there were a lot of like things that went, and I don't know if it was because he shot in 2 locations and the editing messed it up a little bit, but there were so many things in the movie. Again, I liked and enjoyed the movie, but
yeah, you really sound like you're a big fan.
Listen, when I'm going into a Giallo film, I'm expected to be blown away because I've been spoiled by Dario Argento.
Okay, let's move on.
So listen,
let's move on. On the ferry.
Yes. So
she gets into this car.
Listen, no. You mentioned that nobody's in any of these cars, and that's true. But later, soon on, everybody's in the cars except for the one that is supposed. Anyways, we'll talk about it in a second.
Yeah, where does he go? He doesn't come back for his car. Right. Maybe they want you to assume that he got killed by the killer too.
Could be, but they didn't make any assumption of that. But she goes in the car and she takes her lipstick out.
And she's writing SHIT. And then you get the POV of the killer. The POV comes over and she's like, oh!
She's like, oh, you. And then she scoots over to let him in. Or him or her, whoever. Because, again, the one thing he does do in this movie to make it a Giallo, which I told you, the voice of the killer is
I get it. It could be anybody. It could be anybody.
And in this
he even tries to make you think that it's the main girl, the final girl. He even tries to kind of make it seem like it's her.
He makes you think it's either Faye. I'll just say it. It could be Faye, who's a female. It could be Peter, who's a male.
Peter, her boyfriend.
It could be the who's the Eric Estrada?
The Eric Estrada guy.
I don't even know.
He had a Greek name. I don't remember, but we'll just call him Eric Estrada.
Yeah, he's missing 2 fingers. So there's
that guy had the blackest, deadest eyes I have ever seen. And from what Lucio Fulci's daughter said, the guy was a gem. He was a really sweet guy. Ross. His last name was Ross. He had the scariest look about him, and she said he was the sweetest guy in real life. But we'll call him Eric Estrada.
Yeah. So there's him. And I'm going to highlight this because it's kind of a question that I have no idea. Matt Maddox, you come into the chat and you actually said, I think you said love the Late Late Horror Show. And then I think you also said Ohio here. I'm from Ohio. So everything lends me to believe you know the channel. If you're new here, I think I've seen you before, but now you're asking who is the other guy speaking besides Ginger? How do you know Ginger's name, but then you don't understand my name, Dino? Because we both pronounced our names at the beginning of the stream. I'm just curious. Everybody just keep an eye on Matt. If you're a great guy and you're part of this channel and you love this channel, great. But there's certain things that just, I go, keep an eye on you because...
Don't disrespect the guy who runs the channel, dog. That's not the way.
Well, hey, you know, listen, you never know, and I don't take no crap. So, you know, that's all I'm saying. I hope you're a true fan and you're enjoying what you're seeing. But yes, my name's Dino, which you should know because you know Ginger. Oh, you know what? I take that back. I apologize. Let me apologize to Matt Maddox. See, I'm this close to just going off sometimes, okay? I'm so stressed. But it says Ginger right under here.
And then it says the Late Horror Show.
The Late Horror Show. I get it. Okay, so Matt Maddox, I apologize, even though I wasn't being mean to you. I was just saying, let's move on. That's
Dino. I think everyone's made it clear that's Dino. This is his channel.
I'll move on. Why is that guy so angry? Anyways. I'm putting on a show for you, man. Anyways.
Sorry, Matt. Hi, Matt.
Yeah, no, hi, buddy.
That's anyway. Dino. I'm Ginger. So we're on the ferry. Are we still on the ferry?
We're still on the ferry, and she lets the. What I was talking about, which the killer could be anybody, a male, female, whatever. The Donald Duck voice leads you to believe that. And then he gets in the car,
and you're seeing it from the killer's point of view. And what's he looking at? He's looking at her crotch to the point that she understands.
Yes. The killer comes in and looks right down. Again, the gratuitous nature of this film is, it's there. It was a thing in early Italian horror. They all kind of went with it. It was kind of what they did in slasher movies, American, and they took from the Italian, and so it's a thing. And Matt Maddox, he says, I definitely won't disrespect. Sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. I have gone to sleep many nights to this channel. I appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoy it.
Thank you, Matt.
I'm glad you enjoy it.
All is forgiven. All is forgotten. Let's move on.
Oh yeah, no. Make a point. I get stressed out sometimes. I do. I'm doing a hell of a lot here.
You made your point. You made
your channel. Point. Listen, shush. Anyways. Okay, let's. So, yes, and then what happens? She gets it in the vehicle, right? She just gets it, yeah. And
no one comes around. No one hears. They're on a crowded, packed ferry, but no one hears. No one.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing, Chris W. And we'll move on. Yeah, there's a lot of trolls lately in the channel. So,
and the only way they find her body. Everybody else came back to their car when they got to Staten Island, except the guy that owns the little red Beetle that she had the little run-in with. So how come he didn't come back for his car?
Exactly, Bubba. This is what happens when we run out of Ovaltine. Yeah, see. Yeah, like when somebody's off their meds, I'm off my Ovaltine. It's been a while. It's been a while since Ovaltine. But Edward Stewart did just send me 2 jars, so I got some Ovaltine. But yeah, let me sit back and relax a second.
Good, then I can talk. I want to talk.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
Continue on about the ferry. Go on.
Yeah,
fairy folk.
What?
Fairy folk. Elves? Gnomes? Okay. Can everybody hear me loud enough?
Not that kind of fairy, Dino. Okay. Not that kind of fairy.
Oh, the one in the water.
Yes, as in don't pay the ferryman.
God. Wait, what? What's that?
It's a song by Chris de Burgh. And you call yourself a Gen Xer. If you don't know Chris de Burgh, don't pay the ferryman, you are no Gen Xer, sir.
Chris de Burgh. Oh my God, you're taking me back. Oh God. Of course I know who Chris de Burgh is.
You don't pay the ferryman. Don't even fix the price.
We got to get past this ferry so that we can
all right, let's get past the ferry.
get to the sleaziness. Drink some
Okay.
water, Dino. I will see him.
So then the next scene is the autopsy. I think this is is this the autopsy of the first girl or the second girl? The second girl, I guess. That got killed on the ferry?
I thought
But anyway,
that's
this
the only time that the guy showed up, the autopsy guy. Well, he does later on
no,
too.
he does twice.
Okay,
he
go
does
ahead.
later too.
JLB says, dude, I'm looking forward to tonight's A Haunting Spooky Night, O-Time Radio. I'm getting that Halloween itch already. Yep, I'm trying to get some good old spooky stories up there for you guys. So, and a new room. Get ready for the dungeon. Anyways.
That's what no girl ever wants to hear from a guy, but go ahead.
Get ready for the dungeon. Some do. But anyways, continue.
Oh, he said from experience. Okay, go ahead.
Ginger lays it on Dino. Ouch. No, I'll get back at her.
Ferry. Are we in the autopsy now? Which also reminds me of Jaws, just like the hand that they find at the beginning reminds me of Jaws. And now they're having a autopsy.
Yes.
And the guy, the lieutenant, is smoking, which remember Roy Scheider, he was going to smoke. And Richard Dreyfuss says, don't smoke in here. It just reminds me of Jaws. Anyway.
Okay, Lucio Fulci, the New York Ripper, and Jaws. Continue on.
So then he goes and finds the professor, Paul Davis, who I like to call Great Value brand Bradley Cooper.
Oh yeah, let's talk about this guy. He's another guy that
Great Value Bradley Cooper when you can't afford Bradley Cooper.
Oh God, yeah. When you've got $2 in your pocket and he will do, I guess.
So he finds this guy to help him try to crack this case.
There were a lot. Sandra knows her Giallo too. I'll let Ginger go in a second, but quiet for a second, Ginger. See, I got her back. Anyways, Sandra says there was a lot of red herrings. There's the finger. See, I know I'll get the finger in this movie to try to throw the viewer off in attempts to figure out who the killer was. Tons of red herrings, and that's exactly what he was.
I'm aware. I'm aware
about the red herrings.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and Dr. Paul Davis is one of those that you. And even at the ending of the movie, it was weird. But we'll talk about that when we get there. Okay. So yes, Paul Davies, the poor man's Bradley Cooper, I guess you say. I don't know.
He was in another Fulci movie, something about a cemetery, The House by the Cemetery, or something like that.
Yes, another one I haven't seen. But anyways, I don't know. Fulci has got to get better than this.
And then here's what I have in my notes for the beginning of the next scene.
Oh,
live session.
Oh, okay, yeah, and yeah, okay. So let's talk about this. Okay. So listen, we got past Dr. Paul Davis, who really seems to be a jackass, if you ask me.
Yeah, he wants to be paid. He wants to be paid to do this. He's not going to do it out of the kindness of his heart because he wants to see these women stop getting murdered.
Yeah.
He's like, well, there's a price. Like, I'm not going to just do this for free. Like, you're taking me away from my regular work, and let's just get all the data together and wait till this guy murders another innocent woman, and then I'll get to work. He says, let's wait till he murders again.
Yeah, poor next victim, right? Yeah. Okay, so we get to the, like you said, and I'm treading carefully here.
Yes.
This is something that it's very odd. I never knew. Is this true? Did this happen in New York? Probably.
Apparently, 42nd Street. Apparently.
Okay, so 42nd Street, evidently. Okay, there's the adult theaters. Okay.
Yes.
But in this movie, they portray that Eric Estrada killer, whoever he ends up being, or he isn't. Well, shush. He goes into this theater, and you're thinking he's going to see a X-rated theater movie,
but it's a live show.
It's a live show on stage. They're performing, and they're sitting there.
And he notices that there's a woman there. There's a woman.
Jane. Her name's Jane.
Very much enjoying the show.
Jane is there. And at first, another red herring, it kind of takes and throws you off a bit.
You think that he's the killer, but it turns out he's just your average rapey guy. He's not the killer.
Oh, no. You jumped the gun. That's not what I was talking about at all. I was talking about Jane, the woman that had the trench coat, the hat, and looking somewhat dressed up like a man, even though it's a woman. But that's the red herring of, is it a guy or a girl killer? And who is she? Maddox, Dino,
I call her. I call her the oversexed cougar.
The oversexed cougar. Okay, I'll go with that. Matt Maddox says, Dino, how much for the Phantom of the Opera mask? Asking for a friend. You mean the bust? This is a solid bust. It's not a mask. It's a solid universal horror monsters bust. And I was given that years ago from somebody on the channel who wanted to send it to me. And out of and still to this day, they're friends. They're not on the stream or nothing like that, but they're in the horror community. And he sent me it. And I can't thank him enough. It's always been a part of my set since. So there you go.
No, Chris W., I did not know that. I didn't know about the back room of the video store with the beaded curtain until I was an adult and heard like stand-up comedians talking about that. I never knew such a thing.
You know what? Okay, now, but see, that's different than a live stage performance.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I remember that too in the back of rental.
I never knew that existed until I was an adult and I heard about it.
Yeah, you hit 18. Anyways, I'm not into those
the
kind
wife,
of things,
she's
moving on. I know. Come on,
she's a married woman. She's very much enjoying herself in this movie theater, and she and the Eric Estrada guy make eye contact, and he's like, "Hey," and she's like, "Hey."
And you don't know what's going on, but she pulls out this tape recorder and starts to record the sounds of the sexual acts, and evidently,
it's not to bootleg it. It's not to sell it.
No, it's to take it home to her husband.
Her husband.
Who, another red herring. You for a second.
No, I never thought it was him.
Well, for that second when I seen him and she gave him the tape, you could tell there was some kind of impotency or something going on where he needs the tapes.
But that's later. Let's get to this.
His wife has to go out and record and do things.
And he has a whole drawer full of the little mini cassette tapes. He has a whole drawer full of them.
Yeah, so that's what kind of threw me off. Hey, it's KJ. What's going on, KJ? Good to see ya. Good to see ya. Enter at your own risk. They're talking about the rooms. Yeah, I hear you. Anyways, Bradley Cooper and Eric Estrada. Yeah, okay. So go on.
One
Jimmy.
of the live actors who just did this act on a platform in front of a whole theater full of people, she goes backstage to her dressing room.
And she was in a previous Fulci, Cannibal Holocaust she was in. Yeah, I'm just pointing it out. That actress was in there. And in this one, she's just an actress on stage doing an act and goes to the back room, like you said, and what happens? And this is where you get the red and green lights, like in a lot of Giallo, the colors of the lighting, which is very cool. So, yeah, go ahead.
She goes back to her dressing room and the light won't come on, and she realizes that somebody's taken the light bulb out of the bald, bare light.
Oh, damn, killer light bulbs.
Yeah. So she gets killed in a very gruesome way.
Well, she walks around a little bit,
trying to figure out what's going on in the room.
Yeah, hollering for her, I guess the lover that was there on the stage with her. I don't know, whoever. She's hollering for him. She's in a robe. She steps on the bulb. She cuts her foot, blood all over. But eventually she goes to the curtain and is with as much non-R-rated version, because we can't say what exactly happened, because
I'll say this, the note that I took was,
oh, be careful.
Let me tell you the note that I took for that. It's impossible for women to bleed to death from there. We practice for that every month.
Okay, there you go. That's Hello, Emily Thompson. Hello, and Emily.
I'm
This we're
sorry,
talking.
Emily. That's just this movie. That's just the
We're
nature
talking.
of the movie.
Oh no, I know. I'm warning her that we're talking kind of a bad horror, but I'm trying to be as tame about it as I can. But yes, the killer pops out, and you hear the Donald Duck voice, you know, and
And that's the first time we've heard it. Is
yes,
that the first time we've heard it?
no, we've heard it on the phone.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
to the police station, and prior to that.
Okay.
But it's a cut ups like in the old West when you would break the bottle off
Yes.
and stabbing it just right in, and you're like, oh my god, what a way to do that. And yes, the killer in this flick is just
He doesn't like women. He doesn't like beautiful women. That's the thing.
no,
He doesn't
no,
like beautiful women. He doesn't care if he doesn't think the woman's attractive. He doesn't care. He's
no.
upset if a woman is beautiful, and we find out why later.
Yeah. Hello, Regina Daly. What is going on? Good to see you.
So next we have
Hit that thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Lieutenant Fred Williams is in flagrante situation with a working girl in her flat in
Listen
her
to
bed.
this. Yeah, a prostitute.
And
He's in bed with a prostitute.
That girl must have been Italian, and the voice that they gave that girl. I don't know any man could perform any act when she had that voice. Why did they pick that voice for her?
Well,
she sounded like a 65-year-old woman. Like,
what?
You want coffee? You make it yourself.
Well, yeah. No, the voice did not go with the girl.
No.
But you get full on nudity. It's just this is another movie where it's full on nudity. You see everything from head to toe, back to front.
Yes. Now here's what I want to know. So the killer calls.
Yes, you took notes, Ginger.
Lieutenant Fred Williams.
Did you do a thesis on this? Did you do a college thesis on this film?
How did he know? Shut up. How did he know that that Lieutenant Williams was there? How did he know that? How did the killer know that Williams was there?
Because okay, you're really asking me this question because he's stalking. He's stalking the lieutenant. The lieutenant got a call at the police station. He's on him. He's tempting, and even Dr. Paul Davis explains to him that he's trying to rile you up. He's trying to get to you. Okay, remember that? Do you remember that at the police station?
Yes, I remember that. Stop talking to me like I'm stupid. I remember that.
I mean, come on, But
how does he?
Somewhere in your notes.
But no, phone number.
Listen, I think he was. Well, back in that time,
they had phone books.
Yeah. So it wouldn't have been that hard for the killer.
All right.
Get to, but yeah, he's stalking. So, okay. Are we on the scene with the blank actress going backstage? I believe that is Zena Cordova. Yeah, she was in Make Them Die Slowly. Yep.
Yeah, she was in a couple of his movies, actually. I read she was in a couple of his movies.
Yes, she was. But yeah, evidently the lieutenant frequents this prostitute, and gets this call there, and he's just pissed, and he's hollering at her, and she did holler back, so there was a little bit of that, but yeah.
Okay. So then the next scene is when we find out about the woman that we saw enjoying herself at that live sex show.
Yeah.
She goes home and we meet her husband. And I couldn't figure out until the very end of the movie, I couldn't figure out like what was going on, because he told her, you make plans tonight because I got something I got to do. And she said, yeah, I figured I'd have to make plans. They're already set up. And I'm like, what's going on here? Like,
well, I think that's just writing in the script to kind of throw you off on, again, thinking that maybe, even though you kind of go immediately, he's not the killer, but it's written that way to make it seem like maybe he's the killer. He's got some issues, some problems. She's going off on her own. I mean, there's a story there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though it's a little story and it really doesn't mean nothing. And Jane's part of the story means a little bit more than his, although they want to make it seem like his does. But no, he's
very boring. He's inconsequential. So
inconsequential.
then the professor and the lieutenant meet up, and the professor
Professor and Marianne,
and they meet up, and I recognize where they're standing.
What?
During this scene, I recognize where they're standing. They're standing at one of the entrances to Central Park.
We can't talk over each other. When I go on a rampage, you got to let me speak. There's no delay, is there?
No.
Okay, no. I can mute you, is what I can do. Okay, we're going to put Ginger off to the side for a second. Professor and Marianne, here on Gilligan's. Listen, I wanted to sing Gilligan's Island, so come on. Okay.
Fine. Can we move on now?
Yes, go on. You got a big story to tell here. I'm sitting back. It's the Ginger show. Ginger,
the professor does his profiling.
Yes.
And then they show the wife again. And then now we're going to find out what her plan. I guess we're supposed to be finding out what the wife's plan was for the evening that she said she had and where she's walking. I don't know if Justin is still here.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, Justin knows what I'm talking about when I say, or anyone who's been in Philly knows what I say when I say that the next scene that shows the wife Jane in the trench coat walking to whatever her plan was that evening. Yeah. She's under an L. She's under a train, an elevated train, and it looks so much like Kensington in Philly, where there's this whole
it's like world. Philly. It's like Philly, girl.
Elevated train.
Yo, yeah. Chris W says I would have to forward through the dirty scenes, so I'd miss most of the movie. Kind of. Yeah. This ain't a movie for you to watch, Chris W. I don't think. I don't know, unless you're really into horror. Hey, Vicky Ray, what's going on? Two fingers, dang. Yeah. Oh, two fingers don't bother me. Yeah. I mean, wait, what? Let's take that back. Continue, Ginger.
Oh no, this is the Dino show.
Okay. Do we want to get to the next?
It's all you.
Do we want to get to the next scene? Yes,
we go to the scene where this is also a first for me. I've never seen a sexual act done with a foot before.
Oh God, and I'll tiptoe around this too because it's so disgusting and it's kind of disturbing and everything about this scene
screams yeast infection.
If they made this, oh God, Ginger, be careful. If they made this movie today, they wouldn't make this movie today. Is what they wouldn't. But yes, Jane goes to this. I guess it's a bar, and it doesn't look like a New York bar. Maybe this is one they shot in Philly. I mean, in Italy, whatever. But listen, there's. I think it was because you had the 2 or 3 Italian guys in there.
They weren't Italian. Those guys weren't Italian.
Yeah, they were.
The guy that assaulted her with his foot?
Yeah.
He wasn't Italian. He was like Mexican or something. He wasn't Italian. Come on.
Okay.
Those weren't Italians.
Maybe you're right.
I think they did that in New York at some crappy little hole-in-the-wall pool hall and bar.
Yeah, it was probably. It was okay.
Those guys, they didn't strike me as being Italian. I just assumed they were
okay. Yeah, you're probably right. Anyway,
I probably am.
Yeah. Anyways, so to get through this disgusting and disturbing scene, she's basically sitting there. I guess again, she's a nympho, and she's sitting at a table, and she's eyeing the 3 guys, and I guess the guys know, hey, look at this woman, and instead of keenly, what's the finger to? Who's the finger to?
JOB said drinking game. Every time Ginger gives the finger, drink.
Oh. Okay, well that'll keep happening.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't. I'm asking you, don't do that.
Okay, so Lynn Ludy, what's going on? Good to see you, Lynn. And Roger, what's going on? Well, you know what?
We're back in the pool
Chris
hall.
W, I know. I'm going to continue. Hold on. Chris W, I don't mind some nudity, but getting one's freak. on with Body Parts is a little wild. Yes, and I'm going to
It
talk
was
about it real quick in a second.
it wasn't an extended scene, which made it not as horrible as it could have been. It wasn't a
Oh,
really
wait.
long scene.
Oh, no, hold on. So yeah, no. The horror reviews that we've been doing lately are a little. Again, take it with a grain of salt. I love horror movies and I love discussing them, and I am going to watch what I say and how I say it, because it can come out the wrong way sometimes, and some people are disturbed by it. Which is why I say listener discretion is advised. But
And he tells
okay,
you what movie we're reviewing. He tells you what movie we're reviewing weeks in advance, so you know what it is. And if you
Bay of Blood is the movie we're doing next week, and probably is going to be the same way. But anyways, this scene, and Ginger just said it's thank God it ain't so long, but everything from other people and everything, and even me, I'm sitting there going, this is going on way too long, even with the extended scene of so they're sitting at a table and the guys come at her, and instead of being nice gentlemen and trying to hit on her that way, this is a beautiful chick, I'm going to try to
I'm going to buy you a beer and he's going to take you for a ride.
Yeah, that's how they do it. They go straight on dirty, like.
But she was all for it, though. She was down for it because that's what she is. She's a freak.
But it was very on the line, because she's going, no, but she's open. Yeah. See, I got to watch what I say. It's the foot thing.
And the really messed up thing to me that I don't get, and I would take a poll of 50 boys and ask them if this is how they would have handled. You've got a woman. She's obviously hot. She's obviously out looking for something very specific, and you get her where you need her to be, and what do? They push the table aside and humiliate her. Like,
exactly.
She was going to go with you guys. Like, she was going to do this, and what you think of is to push the table aside and expose her.
And I'll tell you, and Fletch Keelman, thank you very much. They were Puerto Rican. They were listening to salsa in the background, I believe, by Willie Cullen. So there you go. Missed image in my head, but yeah, you know what, Ginger, that's the thing, and that's why a lot of people can be turned off by some of these films, because
I see that absolutely.
It's exactly what Lucio Fulci wanted to do. It's what they did back then. It's a lot of these horror movies in the late 70s and stuff, they just degraded the the female. I mean, they're the victim, and and in this film, especially Italian horror, in this film in particular, they really just did not care, and they did it in the worst way.
But for the most part, even to this day, what are most horror movies about? Most horror movies are going to be about some guy stalking girls and killing girls. That's what draws people in. That's what horror movies are. You get your occasional ones that are just about killing for the sake of killing, like the Saw movies, the torture porn. We talked about that. That's just killing for the sake of killing. But most serial killers are men.
And
most serial killers are men, and most of them, there's
a
reason that they're doing it. It has something to do with their hatred for women. That's just the way it is.
Well, I'll beg to differ with most of them. I guess the majority are men, but you would not believe how many women serial killers are out there. They just kill in a different way. Usually,
slowly over time, until you're left hardly the shadow of the man you were.
listen. Most of the women serial killers, their weapons of choice have always been poison. And it doesn't make it any less you're killing. Oh,
I think that's horrible, because you're slowly poisoning someone, watching them die in front of you. That's horrible. Oh, that's horrible.
We'll talk about Fletch. We'll talk about Maniac in a few too, because there's a scene in here coming up where it kind of reminds us of that scene in Maniac. But getting past this scene, yes, it was.
I know the scene you're talking about. I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah. It's like a prolonged subway scene where, just like Maniac, it was very interesting. It's like we've done movies in a row here that kind of all fit together in some weird puzzle. But go ahead.
Then we get another subway scene. This is my note. We get another subway scene from the world of that would never happen. You get an empty train car. That would never happen in New York. You get an empty subway station. That doesn't happen here in Philly. There's never a time I've been in a subway station in Philly where there wasn't a bunch of people down there. There's hardly ever been a time, even late at night, that you would go down underground to the subway and there's not, you get a car to yourself. That never happens. This was just for this movie, and it's like Maniac. It's unrealistic, but
Right.
and when he's
she's
chasing
being
her to
chased.
the subway station, I was thinking, I hope she doesn't go to the bathroom, because if she goes to the bathroom, she'll find Joe Spinell killing that other girl in the bathroom.
Yeah, like from Maniac. Yeah, yeah. No. Listen. Yeah, I got the same vibe in there. You know, why the heck is there nobody down there? Why is she running?
Nobody on the street, like just.
Well, and then when she does get to the street, it's a gritty, disgusting New York City. Nobody around. I mean, I don't know if she could have darted off in a more busy area. New York was always, 24/7, right?
Yeah.
Where the subway lets off, there's got to be, you're in the city. But anyway,
exactly. And around the subway station, it's always busy because they know people will pass by there and come buy something.
Yes.
There's a newsstand or something. But there was nothing. Yeah. Everything was closed, and she's just running. Ah!
Oh, and I forgot to say hi to Drummer 65. Hey, good to see you. Good to have you. Good to know you. Good to be you. What's going on? But yes,
so we see Eric Estrada with the dead black eyes again. He had the most. He really had a.
Oh wait. But did we mention how she gets killed when she's running down the street by the? You get the Donald Duck. You get a stab right to her in the. Isn't that? Wait. No, is this Faye? No. This is Faye on the train. Okay, so continue on.
Faye on the train.
Yes, and Faye.
And he cuts her. Yes. And I have to say, when he cut her leg or whatever, it looked so realistic. It looked really real, that one.
Oh, it did. And this is why, thank God I mentioned, yes, it's Faye. I was wrong. She did not get killed. What happens is this is the one goof by the killer, because he goes straight down and gets the leg, straight down the leg. And she starts getting all these images of I think Peter slashing her up, and Peter is going to be
her boyfriend. Peter's her
boyfriend. Yes. So
but do you see that this is where you get to see the movie marquees from the movie theaters all around? And did you see American Werewolf in London and Nighthawks, which we were talking? I mentioned that. I love that movie, Nighthawks. And those were the two movies on the marquee when she was running, getting away from Eric Estrada with the dead black eyes.
No use for name. Hello. You say you've looked up probably statistics, and it's from wherever you got it from, says 85% male, 8% female killers. I don't believe that. I think that's skewed. But anyways, I still give you the majority are men, of course, but much that's skewed. Never go by what you find on the internet when it comes.
And I think it depends, Dino, on what your definition of a serial killer is. I mean, how many men can a woman kill? How many men did Aileen Wuornos kill? Never. It's never as many as a guy kills. It's just not. You can. How many do you consider a serial killer?
Listen, how many people did Ted Bundy kill? I can't remember offhand. It was not as many as you would think. When you get into very hardcore, like John Wayne Gacy, I mean, you're talking, what was it, 47 declared or something like that? I don't know.
But most get women,
Henry Lee Lucas. He says 110. He can't prove that he did that many, but he traveled the entire countryside killing, and I'm sure the number is that, if not higher. So
when he's chasing her through the streets, the music that they're playing, it's so like 70s cop show.
Yeah.
It's so like 70s. I love it.
The music was weird, and the next thing they do is show Faye in the hospital, and she's feeling around going, oh, wait a second, I wasn't slashed up except for my leg. So that was real by the killer. And
when her boyfriend comes in, he's having such a hard time with the doorknob. Why is he having such a hard time opening the door? She's looking at the doorknob and it's jingling and jingling, and you're like, oh! And it turns out it's her boyfriend. Like, have you never opened a door before? Like,
I know. Yeah. Well, the director said, "Hey, jiggle it, make it seem like you're the killer."
And his whole demeanor when he comes in the hospital room, he's so suspicious and creepy. He's like, "What did the police say? Like, why are you being so creepy about it? Like, you just figured that he's another red herring." I thought he was just another red herring. I was like, "It's not him. That's her boyfriend. He's not the guy." And I think I thought they want you to think this is the killer.
Well, listen. Well, at this point in the movie, okay, I'm looking at Peter and Faye both as possible killers.
Okay.
Mostly because of the whole Giallo thing with the, it's either a man or a woman. They got this relationship. I see what you're doing. You're kind of throwing it off. Mm-hmm. I mean, especially when he brings her home,
Yeah.
But yeah. I think we got a scene right before that though, back with Jane, don't we? Or is that after? Is the scene with Jane
and the professor? The cop and the professor
mm-hmm.
Walk right past Peter, the boyfriend. The cop and the professor are outside the hospital because they talk to her, and they walk right by Peter.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, Peter's the killer, okay? It's on the movie jacket. Peter's the killer. The cop and the professor, the low-grade Bradley Cooper, they walk right past him.
You said the killer already.
It's on the movie jacket. It's
okay,
on the movie jacket.
Well, no, we'll debate this at the end too, though, a little bit. But
then they said
Peter.
It's not going to be hard to find a guy who's missing 2 fingers. And right after he says that, there's not going to be hard to find a guy missing 2 fingers. They cut to the scene with Eric Estrada with the oversexed cougar, and he's got her handcuffed to the bed.
Yeah, Jane
is tied to the bed with rope, and she's digging it. She likes it.
Well, yeah, she went with him. Evidently, somehow they got connected, and they're doing some BDSM and stuff like that. On the bed,
and she was into it. It was consensual. It's not like he dragged her there against her will. She was into it
until
she hears the radio, and this is the thing that they do. That's the best red herring of this whole movie.
I agree with you, Ian Sharp. Bundy could be much more, but go ahead.
You already think that it's Eric Estrada who's the killer. You already think it's him. He ties her to the bed, and then he turns his back and he turns the stereo up really loud, and he goes and he makes a phone call. So you definitely think this is the guy. He's missing 2 fingers. He turns the stereo up so she can't hear him. He's tied her to the bed, and he's making a phone call, and you assume he's going quack, quack, quack into the phone. It's the best red herring, the biggest one of the whole movie. They definitely want you to think it's him until you find out it couldn't be him.
Well, they went overboard. I think. And I quickly knew that 2 fingers.
It wasn't him.
I mean, usually the one they throw out front.
Yeah.
At the beginning is never the killer.
So I'll say this. Jane, the oversexed cougar, for once in her life, her oral skills really came in handy because she chewed the rope off. She used her mouth.
Sounds pretty sweet. Says the footage of Bundy talking, because he was supposed to be a smooth kind of guy. You can obviously see that he was a sociopath. Yes, Ted Bundy. You could definitely look in his eyes and see that there wasn't a soul there, if you want to say that. But and somebody also, Chris W said, we're talking serial killers because this is kind of what the movie's about too. Gacy was the creepiest, clown pictures in his home and dressed up like a clown for children. That's creepy, Chris W. But man, I tell you, Jeffrey Dahmer, I mean, he had bodies in drums in an apartment in acid. 50-gallon drums. He had body parts in the fridge and the freezer. He would cook.
I remember that one poor boy got away from him and ran down the street naked, and the woman called the cops, and the cops came and took him back to Jeffrey Dahmer. Took him back because he didn't speak English, and he couldn't tell him, "No, don't take me back there. That guy's trying to kill me. He didn't speak English. He couldn't tell him, and he took him back to Dahmer, and Dahmer I
know.
horrible.
I know. But again, Dahmer, he would take the parts of the body out of freezer and thaw, cook it, eat it. Talk about creepy and disturbing. He's up there. But there's other ones too. There's other ones too. Bubba says Ezra Bathory, Elizabeth Bathory is either
But
one
did
of
she even really
the
exist?
all
Do we know if she really existed, or was
the
that a
all-time
legend?
worst, or it was all lies so her late husband's family could steal her lands and assets. So yeah, I think bordering. I don't know. Dave L, how you doing, buddy? I would like to see a non-Hollywood Bundy that isn't dramatized. Really? Anyways, okay. So she's tied up to bed. She hears a phone call, looks at his fingers, gets up, uses her skills.
Oh, the radio announcer, because the radio, and she sees that and she's like, what's he doing? Why is he making a phone call? I'm tied to the bed, and he takes the time to go make a phone call. The radio announcer, the DJ, says, hey, man, I just want to talk to that dude out there. Hey, you crazy cat missing the 2 fingers. Let me tell you something, my man. Stop messing with the ladies. And she's like, oh, this is the guy missing 2 fingers.
But what happens is she gets out, she throws on a trench coat while he's going.
He's knocked out,
and
which means they did the thing. They did the thing, and he fell asleep. So she still did the thing.
Yeah.
And she chews through her bindings, and she gets out, and of course, she can't escape the building. It's just impossible. She can't find an exit to get out of the building.
Yeah, and she
even goes back by the room and sees that the Eric Estrada is asleep in the bed, and so she keeps running.
But
and
she
then
gets
all of
it
a
by
sudden,
the killer / kill.
Quack, quack, quack.
Quack, 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 quack. But she didn't chew her way out. She used her teeth to untie the rope. Untie the rope. So no point for you tonight, Ginger.
How about a point here? How about this point?
There you go. Finger. Always learning. Hey, Mary, what are you doing? How you doing? Good to see you. She says, "Oh, I think Bundy was a very interesting serial killer."
So then we have.
Listen, I went to lecture several years ago on serial killers, and he was very, very interesting. That was the name of that movie. This something stranger. Mary always. You lectured on serial killers, Mary. Mary, you better message me on Discord.
She said she went to some lectures. That's awesome.
I went to a lecture several years ago on serial killers, and he was a very, very interesting. What was the name? Was it? Oh, so okay. So sorry. Okay, I thought you did, because I was saying I need to talk to you.
Oh no, I'd still love to hear what they said at this lecture. I'd still be interested to hear what they said.
Hey, Mary knows she's always welcome to come on here to talk if she wants. Dave L, what's going on? BTK killer story was interesting. The BTK, yes, very interesting story. Bind, torture, kill. That's what the BTK killer is. That's what it stands for. And very sickening, disturbing man, but one that happened supposedly late in his life, and then stopped. And it's a very interesting story. Night Fright Talk Show. What's going on? Good to see you.
He was a narcissist. When I saw him in court, that BTK killer, he was such a narcissist. He just loved the attention. He just basked in all that attention that he got.
And Fletch says Elizabeth Bathory really existed, and there's now evidence that linked her with the murders. It might not be the number that was given nor the method used, but she did. I could have sworn there was evidence.
Okay, that's cool.
Linking her to that. So, anyways, continuing on, I think we get. Oh, and the other interesting fact about this movie was, for some reason, in all of the credits and the opening and all that, there were no capital letters at all. They were all lowercase.
That's fascinating, Dino. Wow.
Why?
Why? Why do you think? Because they picked a font and they stayed with that font? I don't know.
Capital letters. Anyways, just moving on. Yeah, well, hold on. A shadow with the tomb says Albert Fish 8 children then sent letters to their parents about how nasty they were. I think that might be the worst. I was about ready
How tasty they were, yes.
I was about ready to bring him up as one of the creepiest too. There's so many, but Jeffrey Dahmer.
Well, Dino, you talked about him. We just talked about him the other night.
Yeah. Albert Fish. After
about the needles, the sewing needles.
He was this type of serial killer who would have to hurt himself, and he thought that would relieve him, like the priests who used the cat o' nine tails to whip their sins away. You know, he thought putting this long of needles, but anyways, we'll move on.
Yes.
X-rays were taken and there were like X-rays were taken and there were over 160 needles in his body, which meant were there 160 victims? It's a very sad story. Very sad story.
So the way that now the lieutenant goes to see Jane's husband, Jane has now been murdered. And so the lieutenant goes to see Jane's husband, and he found that little tape recorder that she had taped that live sex show, and he took that to her husband, and he played it for the husband, and he smirked like the whole time he was playing it for, like, this is your wife, you know, what's going on? Who would do that?
Lieutenant Fred Williams.
I didn't like that.
Yeah, the lieutenant was kind of a creep doing that to this guy after his wife was just killed. Didn't make any sense. I don't know why it happened, but whatever. But no.
So then we go to the scene where Faye and Peter, he picks her up from the hospital and he takes her back to his place, and she's like, this is going to be so nice. I just really need some time to cuddle with you and to heal my leg a little bit, and this is where I really want to be. And she played that scene so well. When he was like, okay, well, I got to go out. He's thinking, I got to go out and murder somebody. And she's like, okay, I miss you. I'll miss you when you're gone. And they do kiss each other. And the moment he shuts the door, she's like, her whole expression changes. And that's when you think, oh, wait, is she the killer? Like,
and we'll get to that next. We'll talk about that and the ending and all that. CM says Ed Gein is in a category all of his own. He is, but really, Ed Gein, who
you have to wonder about Ed Gein's mother. Like, what was his mother like? He had this really weird relationship with his mother, like really weird.
Oh yeah. But he wasn't as prolific of a serial killer. I mean, he had very, very, very few kills. His thing was
because he lived out in the middle of nowhere and he picked his people from a very small pool. He didn't go to the city or anything.
He wasn't even pushed to kill. His thing was digging up the dead corpses that were freshly killed, like Psycho. Psycho kind of pulled a lot of that from Ed Gein too, where he would take the body and use the body. He would use the body for making nipple belts. He would cut the skulls so that he can eat his cereal out of the skull bows that he made. Lampshades, all that other stuff. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. All these stories came from that, but he would dig up the dead bodies. So very interesting case, but prolific serial killer? No, not very, very little. I'm trying to think of the exact number. 2, 3 kills. That's it. I have to, again, don't quote me on the exact, but it was only a couple. I know that. So anyways, let's get to this whole ending with Faye and Peter, Ginger, and we'll end it because we got like 15 minutes here and wrap it up. But yeah, I think like you said, when he dropped Faye off and he left, she
goes snooping. And I'm wondering, what was her motivation to go snooping? Was it because she had that premonition that he was the killer, and that makes her? Why did she go snooping in his house? I don't understand that. Like, well, is it because of the premonition?
Well, I don't know if it's the premonition. It could be. I don't know. I have to go back and look at that scene. I didn't catch that from that. If you did, you let me know. But I get.
Well, why did she go snooping? She went to a lot of trouble to go snooping in his house.
Well, one snoop can lead to what? A bunch of different things. I think she was brought to the house. She is curious, and I think she is thinking, hey, there's something wrong with this whole Peter character. My
Hmm.
boyfriend, there's something going on there. And
So
because
there's
why?
dolls again.
Yes,
Dolls again.
because why the premonition? But she looks over, and it's this quick shot, like boom, of the stairway.
Hmm.
And so, like the stairway's a killer or something. I don't know. But then she walks up to the room, and you get
And
this
there's
weird,
dolls again. Dolls.
there's dolls everywhere. It looks like a kid's room. Um,
And it is. It
and
looks like a kid's room because it was a kid's room.
yes, we come to find out that Peter has a daughter in the hospital,
Susie.
Susie. Yes. And she has some kind of
So
lymphatic
wait, when she's up in
problem.
Susie's room snooping
Yeah.
around, she's worried that he might come back, and she hears glass shattering, and she
Yeah.
doesn't
Eric
think anything
Estrada
of it.
Eric Estrada character is following her. He's stalking her too. So he
So
comes
she hears
in
shattering glass and thinks nothing of it. She just keeps going. Okay,
at
whatever.
first, but then she gets under the bed and he walks around. He leaves. You think
And they
that's
can
it.
never stay put. Why can't you just stay put for 5 minutes? Like they immediately come out of their hiding place. Like, why can't you just stay put for a few minutes?
Exactly. Yeah, no, it was boy, you guys are very keeping me on my toes tonight. Very interesting chat in the chat room there. Man, okay, I got to go back and look at this after. You guys are making some interesting points. But yes, Eric Estrada guy killer, Two Fingers leaves, and evidently he's going to get killed by Peter because they find him and the lieutenant
And they
freaks
say
out.
he committed suicide. I'm like, why would he commit suicide? And they make you think it's because he's worried that you're going to think that he's the serial killer, and that there's evidence that could make him out to be the serial killer. So he kills himself. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
And so we see the gory scene with Kitty the prostitute. Kitty the prostitute with the razor with the eye.
Yes. That's a where's that take place? He calls up the lieutenant. Boy, I didn't know we're getting towards about how many hours. He calls up Donald Duck voice to trying to trace the call, and he starts talking to him like I've got the
Kitty.
prostitute kitty. Kitty.
And then that's the first time that I actually sensed any humanity from Fred Williams. He really was trying to get there to save her life, and it lets you know he actually did care about her.
Listen, but did you know that he wasn't so quick to jump because it was a prostitute he was seeing when they were at that payphone? He wasn't quick to jump until he finally heard the killing start to happen on the phone because the Peter the killer using Donald Duck quack 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 had a walkie-talkie there that was talking into the telephone. Good one. I guess if that could really work, and nobody's going to come by and go, hey, what's going on over there? I'll leave it be. But then he hears the killing, and then he jumps in the squad car and tells them all the address. A little too late, Lieutenant. A little too late.
So then they find Eric Estrada's body, and they figured that he couldn't actually be the killer because he's been dead longer than.
Yeah, he told the autopsy guy. Yes, he told the autopsy guy. Well, the autopsy guy told him 8 days, and he goes, I like how he looks at him and goes, no way, it was 4 days that she was killed. And you're like going, calm down, buddy. Jeez.
And so then this is when they cut to Faye. She goes to the hospital and she sees Peter's daughter, Susie, in the hospital.
Yes. And then wrapping this story up, they go back to the house, or Faye goes back to the house. And you get this interaction between the lieutenant and stuff talking about how somebody's paying the child's bills, and then you end up finding it's Peter's daughter. And but
she saw the bill when she was snooping. She found a bill from the hospital.
Yeah. And then you end up getting this it's the ending. It's the climax of the film where Faye and Peter are there, and Faye's looking at the knife that's sticking out, and you can see it's chipped off. It's something that the killer did when he hit it, and broke off the tip. So
Yes.
she's putting two to two together.
Yes.
And is Peter upstairs? I think Peter's upstairs and she's downstairs.
And she gets a knife.
Yeah, and then they both get on the phone.
She hears with the GTE phone. Remember GTE phones?
Yeah.
There's a GTE phone, and she hears a duck. She hears this quack, quack, quack. We haven't played in so long. And she's like, what the hell?
Yes, upstairs. And then she picks the phone up. But for a quick second there, he filmed it in a way that the phone was at Faye's, you couldn't tell if Faye was talking Donald Duck or Peter was talking Donald Duck. So the red herring, trying to, figure out who's the killer still, who's the killer, maybe it is Faye, you know what I mean? But then a fight ensues, and Peter jumps out at Faye, and they roll around on the ground.
And then you have...
Well, first Faye ends up, go ahead. Faye kills or stabs Peter twice, and you go, Faye,
and she walks right past him. She stabs him, and then she's like, oh, well, he's dead. And she walks away from him with her back to him. And of course, he comes up behind her.
Yes. And I thought Faye's the killer at that point. I'm like, oh, Faye's the killer. She stabbed.
And so they're struggling, they're wrestling, they're struggling, and he gets her down on the ground, and all of a sudden
talks quack quack. Well, he's going quack 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 quack. So
you're just like the others. You're beautiful, and my daughter Susie will never be beautiful like you because she's probably not going to live. She has some terrible disease or something.
Well, yeah, and something, and again, that's the whole psychological thing about the whole film. The Dows, the Donald Duck, he would talk to his daughter like that. He's kind of, this is kind of somehow in his head and incorporated into the film to where, this is how the killer is. And then the lieutenant.
And so that phone call that they were both listening to, that was actually his daughter calling him.
Yeah.
That was his daughter calling him from the hospital saying, how come you haven't called me? Quack, quack, quack. We haven't done this for so long.
Yeah, because there was a flashback right after where they show that for some reason afterwards. But anyways, but see, this is what is interesting. Okay, so the end of the film is he gets blown, and it's a very cool kill scene, right through the cheek and out the other side. Yeah, and it's like, whoa. But the scene ends with Dr. Paul Davis
in the car.
Did I miss something in the chat? Did somebody become a member or something like that? Did I miss something? You guys? Did you guys see something? Okay, hold on. What is this? Dork Reviews left a comment. Very smart. Yeah, Dork Reviews. Very, very keen person there, huh? Anyways, I guess I missed it. It's over on the other thing. Christian Liams joined the channel at level 2 support. I don't know why it didn't show up in this one, but the very ending of the movie, Ginger, did you notice how they did show the girl talking again to Daddy?
Yeah, that's so sad. That's very sad.
And then it switches to that Dr. Paul Davies office. Did you notice that?
No, what? It ended with the three of them in the car, the lieutenant and the doctor and Faye in the car.
Oh yeah, that was the end. But after Peter got boom right through the cheek. Dork review.
Oh, it went to his office, and that woman was there, like his assistant or something.
Yeah. Anyways, it made me think. I don't remember
what that was about. What was that about?
I don't know. It was a weird thing that they put at the end of the movie.
Yeah. I don't know why.
It's like if that was before the killing, you would have almost thought that it was Paul Davis who was the killer.
The killer?
Yeah, but for some reason they put that scene afterwards. It was weird. Anyways, yeah, then you end with them three in the car, and Paul Davis is consoling.
And the little girl is in the hospital all alone, and her mother ran off to Brazil, and now her father's dead, and she's just in the hospital all by herself. It's very sad.
Yeah, no, it was a very,
You know what would be a great sequel would be if she grew up, if she actually grew up and she became a serial killer.
Oh God, yeah, interesting. Oh yeah, that's for sure. So yeah, that was the movie. I mean, for a
I would
Giallo
see it
film,
again. What would you give it on a scale of 1 to 10?
oh, I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10.
6?
Yeah.
Oh wow, you really
Are
did
you
not like
going higher than that? Are you
Yeah.
going? What are you going?
I'd give it a solid I'd give it a 7.5.
Okay. Well, again, when you see movies like Dave Plouffe said, like Deep Red, Suspiria, The
And
Bird
those are
with
2 movies that Dino
Crystal.
keeps telling me I should watch. I've seen little bits and pieces of Suspiria, but
Oh, you didn't
I
want to
never
see
heard
little
of Deep
bits.
Red until Dino told me about it. I got to check that out.
Yeah, or The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. That's another fantastic
So Dino, there's a
movie.
movie that Lucio Fulci did. It said it was something about a duckling, like don't strangle the duckling or don't kill the duckling or
Okay.
something. And they're
Okay.
saying that that's where the quack quack thing came from. I don't know because I never saw that movie.
Who knows? He could have a thing with ducks. I don't know. It was just a girl, Donald Duck, making the noise. But who knows? I don't know.
Okay.
Guys, that movie is no better than a 4, says Peter Wernicke. Oh boy.
I mean, if you combine the atmosphere, the setting, the how authentic the setting was, the music, the mood, the atmosphere,
Ian
the
Sharp says
plot. It had
3.
a little bit of a plot. The acting, the
Listen,
character development. I give it a solid 7.5. It wasn't the worst that I've ever seen.
Hey, listen, I was being very generous with a 6.
Uh,
I can. You guys can convince me to drop it down to a 5, but I'm giving it a 6 because I did enjoy it. I do love the Giallo and the Italian horror. At the moment, I'm loving them. But there were a lot of things I didn't like about this movie too. But
like what? What did you not like about it? Real quick, what did you not like?
Oh God, we're at the end of the show. You want me to? I think I said it at the beginning of the movie. It just went in the wrong direction. I mean, it just did not have a Giallo feel to me. It was more of a slasher feel with bits of pieces of Giallo elements in it. I would have loved to have seen more. I would love to have seen more of the killer in dress, maybe the gloves, maybe.
That's true.
You know,
You didn't see the killer at all. You didn't see him.
no, there was no
That's true.
showing. Which again, is that being lazy on Fulci's part?
That was just his style. Maybe that was just his style.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to see.
Connie said, "Is this movie still censored to this day?" I believe so. I believe it is. Or it became uncensored. Like they wouldn't even show it in England. I think they said until like 2002, you could not see it legally anywhere in England.
Well,
now
I know you can watch it on Amazon, so it's there.
I watched it on YouTube.
Who was that said that? Hold on a second. Grant, I agree with you 100%. I just don't find gratuitous violence and sex interesting. Neither do I.
True. That is very true.
Neither do I.
That is true.
But I do like horror. I do like Giallo. I do like slash. There's tons of different genres. I mean, you just got to look at it in a different way. It depends how the story is told. Like this film, definitely gratuitous. You wouldn't like this, Grant, at all. I mean,
Yeah.
You can give me a Universal horror movie any day of the week, and I'm fine with that. Again, I've discovered some gems from this era, from Dario Argento and so on, that just, if I didn't look for it and watch it, I would have missed out on probably some of the best films I've ever seen, like Suspiria, like Deep Red. Just fantastic. Opera is interesting because it's a very gory film.
Tenebra is a great movie. Tenebra is a fantastic movie.
It is. But Opera is a bit disturbing, but yet there's something very intriguing about the story, the plot, the characters, everything going on in there. It just depends. But I'm with you. I'm with you, Grant.
I hear you, Grant. Definitely, absolutely. I hear you there because there's a lot in this movie. This one, I thought Torso was bad. This one's way worse than Torso.
Yeah. Well,
there's a lot more graphic sex in this movie than
there's
Torso.
weirder stuff in this movie. But anyways,
Torso was a lot of nudity. Torso was a lot of nudity, but not as much hardcore, like in your face.
Yeah, maybe a little gorier in this movie. I can see that. 1970s, it was a different time. Yes. Things were a little, well, I wouldn't say a little more. There are more gory, disturbing films being made now than ever before. So just to let you know that. But again, me and most of you guys probably will never watch them anyways because I don't like those kind of movies. So I feel like opera may actually have the plot structure of an opera. Grant L. Did you see it? Opera, yes, it definitely does. There's a kind of a opera. Yeah, it's all about opera. It takes place in an opera house. Anyways. If you want to see it, go to me and Ted's full on, I think 1.5 hour, 2 hours review discussion on opera. It was a good show. Anyways, tonight we have spooky overnight old time radio shows all night long. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. Right now tomorrow I have the battle of the old time radio shows. I might push it again because I think I might need a night off. If you guys ever see me push it, I'm so sorry. But
you should take a night off. Take a night off.
No, I tomorrow I think I may end up doing that just because I need it.
You're entitled.
Yeah. So with that said, this week's movie poll I am going to put up. It's not so much a poll because I know which one's going to win, but there are two horror musicals out there that I just simply love.
Yeah. And what are they? Rocky Horror
Picture Show and The Phantom of the Paradise. I love them both equally in different ways. Okay, if that makes any sense. They're so different. Like Rocky Horror is this kind of up. I can't even explain it.
You don't have to. We know what it is. You don't have to. It can't be explained. Right. You don't have to explain it.
There's a little bit more like festive vibe to Rocky Horror, whereas Phantom of the Paradise is a little bit more downtrodden and like sad. And
okay.
But
I never heard of it. This is the first time I've ever heard of it.
Oh, Phantom of the Paradise is fantastic. If we end up watching Rocky Horror Picture Show on next Friday, the following week is going to be Phantom of the Paradise. So either way, we're going to watch them both. Which one do you want to see first? So anyways, Seth the Welsh says Phantom, please. See, there's RTN Productions, Phantom. Phantom. Yeah, you know what? I guess it'll be interesting to see which one wins this week. I want to put a poll. Yeah.
Next Sunday we're doing. You told me pick a movie, and I gave you two options. I said let's do this or this, and you picked.
Out of the two you gave me, I picked Bay of Blood.
Bay of Blood.
So, and it's another Giallo. So for some reason we're going with it, and
Bay of Blood has an alternate title. Wait, does Bay of Blood have an alternate title?
Oh, they all have alternate titles here.
I think Bay of Blood has an alternate title that is, I think it's called Twitch of the Death Nerve or something like that. It's really funny. God. Twitch of the Death Nerve.
Thank you, Dave L. Best channel on YouTube. Take a night off. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
He should take a night off.
So, hey, hopefully you guys are enjoying me and Ginger here on Sunday night.
I hope so, because I'm having fun doing it. I really hope you enjoy it.
Oh, I like arguing with you about these films. And yes, it's got to be an
not arguing. It's a discussion. It's a discussion where I explain to you how you're wrong and I'm right.
No, I'm right and you're wrong. And you put middle fingers up. So that's an argument.
See, we need to have more discussions because you don't understand yet.
And don't forget, I'm going to rework the thumbnail tomorrow for Tuesday, Late Night Coffee with Tracy and Lisa. They're going to do kind of a show around urban legends. So that will be really interesting, and you will get me popping in and out with my, feelings on a lot of these urban legends. So
yes, whether we want to hear it or not.
Exactly. Amen to that.
You're in
Ginger.
control.
She's exactly right that I'm in control and I can kind of quiet her down anytime I want. Feels so good. Feels so good.
It does. It feels really good. It's so refreshing.
Anyways, much love, Ginger. I love doing these with you. It's fantastic. So get ready for the week ahead and get ready for the month ahead as we start approaching Halloween season. Going to be doing a lot of spooky stuff on the channel. So get ready for that. Yes. Halloween rules. So anyways, say good night, Ginger, and I'll see you guys at the chat.
Good night, Ginger.